Still humming that Bee Gees song. Oh, man. That did help me wake up. That is great. Good morning, Santa Clarita. Welcome in. Did you catch that Bee Gees jam? Oh, that was amazing. Good morning. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you are listening to SCVi and I Lead Schools Eye on the Valley. You know our show. You remember. Our show, Eye on the Valley, is brought to you by SCVi and I Lead Schools. We are a network of charter schools with campuses in Castaic, Agua Dulce, Lancaster, Poway. No, we don't have a school in Poway. I was just channeling Hacksaw there for a minute. But yeah, we have schools in Castaic, Agua Dulce, Lancaster. We've got an online school, fully accredited online school. Yes, your kids can, I promise. TK through 12. We've got a burgeoning home study program called iLead Exploration. You know what? Just visit us at ileadschools.org, where you can find information about all of our schools, classroom-based, virtual, hybrid, everything in between. We've got a school for your kid, no matter what their learning needs are. And so, yeah, we keep our eye on education here in Santa Clarita and across the nation. But like the show says, we keep our eye on the Valley as well, bringing you everything that you need to know about what's what right here in the Valley. And as we do so, we try to put a little smile on your face, because you know what? If you're not giggling, if you're not chuckling, no matter what you're doing it wrong. So, yeah, gets me in trouble from time to time, especially in board meetings and funerals and stuff like that. But yeah, let's start our weekend off right. You already made a good decision by joining us here at Eye on the Valley. And so, yeah, pour yourself that extra cup of coffee this morning and let's slide into this weekend together. Happy Friday, y'all. And hey, happy October. That's right, it is October, which means that pumpkin spice is in the air, Christmas decorations are in the stores, and the Dodgers are in the playoffs. You better believe it. This is the year of Big Blue. Freddie, Mookie, Kike, Kershaw, and the rest of the boys are going to tear through the deserts and the Diamondbacks. I'm calling sweep. I'm calling sweep over the Diamondbacks, and then they'll take on the Braves and that racist tomahawk chop. Although, you never know. The Phillies are playing well. The Phillies could take out the Braves before they ever get to the Dodgers, and then from there, it'll be on to the World Series to take on. Well, who do you think out of the American League? Maybe it's a rematch of 2017 with the cheating Astros. Although, if you ask me, I think the Dodgers are headed for a World Series matchup with the Baltimore Orioles. It is Baltimore's year for the first time since 1983. I think that would make for a good series, but in the end, it doesn't matter. The Dodgers are going to stomp them into the ground, no matter who they are, on their way to their 8th championship. Series versus Arizona, the first round for the Dodgers. This NL Division Series versus the Arizona Diamondbacks starts tomorrow night at Chavez Ravine. So let's go Dodgers! Dodgers! So let's do it. Yeah. Gosh, I'm so excited. We got a great show for you today. I'm excited about Dodgers baseball, but I'm excited about our show today. Producer Sarah, you put together another beaut for us this morning. In just a minute, we'll be talking to the dual language immersion program at SCVi. We'll be talking to a couple of the facilitators. That's what we call our teachers at SCVi and I Lead Schools. Not because they're any differently qualified. We're talking about highly qualified, fully credentialed teachers, but we call them facilitators because, well, they kind of get out of the way and let the kids take control of their own learning. And, when you put the learning in the kids' hands, then it becomes real, it becomes permanent, it becomes authentic. You know what? I'm going to shut up about that. I'm going to let them tell you about it. We've got our 5th grade dual language immersion facilitators from SCVi joining us this morning. Kids learning all the state standards in English and in Spanish. Then in hour number 2, you're going to meet Dr. Roche Vermaak, the executive director of Family Promise of Santa Clarita. They're doing great things to help combat homelessness in our valley, and you can help at their 4th annual golf tournament. And then, yes, Big T will be here at the end of the show like he always is with fun and trivia. So like I said, we've got a great show for you. Let's go ahead and get it started. My first guests this morning teach 5th grade at SCVi Charter School in 2 languages. That is right, they cover all of our state standards in English and in Spanish. I'm talking about Melissa Rose and Paloma Molina-Lopez. SCVi is so fortunate to have this powerful team working with their fifth graders. Melissa, Paloma, welcome to Eye on the Valley.
Thank you. Hi, good morning, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing great, doing great. Like I said, I'm fired up. I'm super excited about the weekend and everything going on. I'm excited to have the two of you join us this morning talking about SCVi's dual language immersion program. But let's start with this. Let's talk about the two of you, because the two of you are both, I've seen you in the classroom, you're both phenomenal educators. Tell us a little bit about your story. How did each of you come to work at SCVi, and how long have you been a part of the SCVi team? Melissa, why don't we start with you?
So I first came to SCVi when I was actually still in my credential program over at the University of Laverne. I was placed here for my student teaching, and it was just such a great experience that I had. I really got to do a lot of hands-on learning for myself of how to be a teacher, and I really liked sort of the unique approach that SCVi took to education, so I've stayed here ever since.
Fantastic, and we are all the better for it. Paloma, I understand your journey was a little bit different and maybe a little bit longer than coming out from University of Laverne. Tell us how you came to work for SCVi.
Yeah, of course. Well, I came last year, so I probably think as myself as like I'm a brand new member at SCVi still, but anyway, I'm from Spain. And like the other Spanish facilitators, they're from Spain too, and there is another one from Mexico. But we have come with a program that is called Visiting Teachers in U.S., where actually teachers from Spain and Mexico can apply every year to come here and teach. And we can do that through the Spanish Ministry of Education that has agreements with the U.S. government and that allow us to teach here for certain years.
And you know, that program is super exciting, and you and your colleagues really do enrich the campus there at SCVi. And yeah, as you mentioned, you come through this program through the Ministry of Education in Spain to teach our kids not only Spanish, but you bring a lot of the Spanish culture with you, and it just really enriches your kids and the entire campus at SCVi. Melissa, you mentioned, and I'm really excited to hear, I didn't realize that Laverne was placing student teachers at SCVi. That is awesome. You mentioned that SCVi is a little bit different, a little bit unique. Can you go into a little bit more detail about what makes working at SCVi different, special?
Well, at SCVi, we are really a project-based learning campus where we still teach the state standards, the Common Core standards, and the NGSS for science, but we incorporate them into different projects that so learners can have a more authentic learning experience. It lets them sort of take charge of their own learning, so they're discovering things for themselves as opposed to being, talked at, having the information just reading it from a book or just taking notes. They get to discover it for themselves, which of course makes them more motivated, more interested. It's a constructivist, inquiry-based approach that lets them take responsibility and ownership of their own learning. And that was one of the things, of course, I learned in my credential program. And to be able to see it in action and to see how well it works it really sort of influenced a lot of my own educational philosophy.
Yeah, gosh, Piaget would be proud, project-based learning really is a dynamic way to teach and learn. I talked a bit about putting the education in kids' hands, and we do that through project-based learning. Melissa, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Paloma, I want to ask you a similar question, but kind of juxtaposing the education at SCVi and how things are done at the school you're currently working at versus the schools that you worked at back home in Spain, because you actually had quite a bit of experience teaching in Spain before you came out to work at SCVi. How is it different from the schools in Spain?
Well, it's a very different environment from where I used to work. First of all, there are two directors here, which that almost never happened in Spain. And but they made our path very comfortable here, and also we're teaching in the dual immersion 50% in English and 50% in Spanish. So that also is kind of different from Spain too. Here, the hours that kids stay at the school are a bit more than we are used in Spain too.
Okay.
But it's been great. I mean, we don't have as much open space as we have here in SCVi. Last year I was teaching in 3rd and 4th grade in a big open space, and this year I went with my 4th graders from last year to 5th grade to a different classroom, different space. But there is been an adapting time, but it's been great so far.
You know, I always find it so interesting. This is not the first time we've had teachers join us from Spain, and they do say, gosh, your school days are a lot longer than we're used to. But when we have visitors that come from China, they say, gosh, your school days are so much shorter than ours. So ladies, let's talk about the program that you teach in, because it really is an amazing program. Tell us a little bit about the dual language immersion program. What does it look like, and how do you teach? Paloma, you mentioned that you do 50% English, 50% Spanish. How do the two of you combine to bring the full educational package to the kids in both languages?
All right. So according to the grade levels, all the Spanish facilitators give all the routines in Spanish.
Okay, good.
So usually the morning meetings are in the foreign language. And all the subjects are integrated in Spanish too. This year, Mr. Bachi and myself are creating a more beneficial plan for the DLI, for our grades, because we want to make sure that DLI grows and gain even more importance in the future. And then I coordinate with my grade level facilitators, Ms. Rose and Mr. Cole, to make sure that we are following the same direction. We give the same content standards to the kids. And basically, yeah, that's it. I don't know if I'm forgetting something, Ms. Rose.
Yeah, no, that was fantastic. So Mr. Call and I, that's our the other 5th grade facilitator on our team here. This is my 3rd year, his 4th year teaching 5th grade at SCVi. So we have a couple of projects that we've done in the past that work really well, and we're always adjusting the projects based on the new learners we have this year and what their interests are and what's worked in the past. So we take care of that from an English only perspective, and then we coordinate with Paloma to figure out a way to do the Spanish language integration for those.
So it is a lot of collaboration among the team, and am I right in understanding there's 4 of you that teach 5th grade, 2 in Spanish, 2 in English?
Not this year. This year for 5th grade we have 1 in Spanish, and then we have 2 in English.
Oh, I see. Okay. So gosh, a real team effort, even though it's an elementary level, 5th grade. So tell me, what grades do you guys start at 5th grade? What grades do you have available for the dual language immersion program?
So right now there is availability from K to 5th grade, to 5th grade, yeah. Last year it was until 4th grade, but we want to keep growing this awesome program until let's see when, hopefully in high school, if it's possible. Yeah. Yeah,
that would be great. So kids are actually starting out in kindergarten with the dual immersion and going, at least until right now, all the way up to 5th grade. I can imagine, I know the program has only been at SCVi for a few years, but I can imagine kids that have been in the program for a while are becoming pretty fluent in both languages.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so tell us what it looks like from the viewpoint of the student. We call them learners at SCVi. So what is, let's just say, a typical day? What does a typical day or maybe a typical week look like for children in the dual language immersion program?
We have to schedule all the timetable in Spanish and English. So we basically follow the same schedule every day, so they know what's coming next and they don't get surprised. And yes, so we do morning meetings in Spanish. We do some hands-on activities, games, SEL exercises where they can share social emotional thoughts or feelings, and also, basically they kind of they can try in English and in Spanish, and I will model in Spanish too. And for ELA and math, pretty much the same. I give all the routines in Spanish. Okay. They understand me, but it's for the speaking process is longer and tougher and more difficult. But then science is very connected to Spanish too. We do the projects too in both languages, and then that's what happens when we don't have specials, which is in our Wednesdays.
Okay.
So we do follow the same routine every day, and we have the main goal of the dual immersion program is to maintain relationships with different schools in Spain and learn from each other too. That's why our learners have pen pals across the ocean. We make videos and letters in Spanish to explain our routines, what we like, their hobbies, their daily day. And in exchange, the students from Spain, because we work with another schools in Spain too, they do the same for us. And developing their English skills. So,
okay.
It's very fun. The kids love this.
Oh, that's interesting. So they've got pen pals in Spain that they're writing to. Are your fifth graders writing in Spanish yet, or are they writing in English?
They're writing in Spanish. Yes, they're writing in Spanish with some help.
Sure.
Yeah, but they can say the basic things about themselves. So that's great. And they're gonna be continuing the same pen pals as last year.
That is fantastic. Oh, so they're building relationships with their friends on the other side of the pond. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
So, other than, obviously they're learning a second language, but there are a lot more benefits to a dual language immersion program than that. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of the benefits of being enrolled in a dual language program?
Yeah, there are so many. First of all, immersion learners, I think they develop greater cognitive flexibility, demonstrating increased attention control, better memory, problem-solving skills, as well as understanding their first language too. And then in addition, these learners are much more aware of and show a more positive attitude towards different cultures and appreciation of people who have different cultural perspectives and practices. And also, I think in the long term, benefits there are too many too, because these kids will be better prepared for real life situations, especially here in California, where so many people speak Spanish.
Sure.
And also, having friends abroad and send letters and videos is very beneficial too.
Yeah, and to add on to that just a little bit, I know that there's longitudinal studies that show that learners in dual immersion programs, their test scores, their academic outcomes are higher on average in all subjects from being in a dual immersion program.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. I know a lot of parents worry, well, if you're spending, half of the day in English and half of the day in Spanish, then they're only learning half as much. Not true. You're right. The studies do bear out that kids actually perform better academically, and I think it has to do with them learning to function in two different systems, right? Because the structure of Spanish or pretty much any other foreign language is different, and the way you put things together, the way you rationalize linguistically is different than in English. And so when you learn that there are two ways of going about getting something communicated or solved, that transfers into your other cognitive skills. We're talking with Melissa Rose and Paloma Molina-Lopez, fifth grade facilitators in SCVi's dual language immersion program. We've got to take a quick break, but when we get back, I want to get back to one of SCVi's other specialties. We mentioned it before, project-based learning, and how that's helping to prepare your learners to lead in the 21st century. Stay tuned. I'm Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVi, and I lead Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVi, and I lead Schools Eye on the Valley. We're talking this morning with two of SCVi's fifth grade dual language immersion program facilitators, Melissa Rose and Paloma Molina-Lopez. Ladies, before the break, I mentioned that I wanted to talk about project-based learning. Melissa, can you share with our listeners a little bit about why project-based learning is so beneficial to students?
Yes. Well, you earlier mentioned Piaget, who was very made a lot of appearances in my teacher performance assessments. he really advocates for constructivist, inquiry-based learning, whereas learners discover knowledge for themselves. And I think SCVi, even with the terms facilitators and learners, really has that at like its DNA as a school, where we facilitate the learners what they're going to learn through projects, and we make sure they're aligned to the state standards. But it's the learners who do the work of learning, and by having to do that themselves, they remember, for one, they retain it better when it's something like a conclusion they've drawn to themselves or a discovery they've made for themselves, and they're able to take more ownership of the learning. So it's a more authentic learning process instead of just sort of being sponging up information.
Yeah, you know, you're absolutely right. And I do remember one of the biggest differences for me as a teacher. I remember I taught for about 16 years before I came to SCVi, and I remember at the end of every day, you know, the 3 o'clock, the bell would ring and the kids would go running, skipping out of the classroom. Yay, they're excited to go home. And then I would be behind them just exhausted, you know, dragging my butt out of the classroom. But teaching a project-based learning model, it's almost flipped, right? At the end of the day, I was like, yay, time to go home. And the kids were exhausted. They were the ones doing all the work, as it should be. Now, you mentioned that the kids kind of learn through discovery and they build the education on their own. You don't mean you just kind of let them wander around and hope they learn, do you? You set the stage and they are required to learn all the state required standards, right?
Absolutely. With our projects, we have a driving question that really fuels what they're going to be doing for the entire project. But we work together to design different sort of activities throughout the project that they're going to be completing in order to do the different stages. So one of the big projects we do at SCVi in 5th grade is our Dream Up to Space project, which is fantastic because that one actually ends in learners actually sending an experiment up to the International Space Station, where this November 3rd, our team from last year, they're actually launching an experiment into space. That will be exciting. So to get them to that point, we have them, they learn about what the International Space Station is. They learn about microgravity. They learn about the experimental process. And throughout those, of course, there's lots of hands-on activities for more authentic knowledge. And then at the very end, all these projects end with a final product. And this one ends with an actual experimental proposal that's going to be sent before a board of aerospace professionals, community leaders, and educators. So they learn how to write a scientific experimental proposal, and then they have to actually write one. So they have to do their research. And of course, we're guiding them along the way. We don't just throw them to the wolves and say, have fun, guys, good luck.
Right?
Yeah. And so they learn a lot about, and they don't just learn about science, they learn about writing skills in this as well. They learn time management skills. They learn to, especially for the writing, to write in a more professional academic tone, as opposed to a lot of kids initially start out writing it almost like they're going to be texting us. And so this is how they refine their process a little more. And then at the end, they really feel a sense of accomplishment. They really feel, they really feel that they have contributed to science in general at the end of that project.
Well, yeah, as they're designing these authentic experiments that have a shot, not all of them get chosen, they have a shot of being conducted by NASA scientists in space, which is super exciting. You know, you're absolutely right, and we could talk for another hour just about that one project. But what are some of the other projects that you've enjoyed rolling out with your 5th graders?
We did a really fun project last year. It was a road trip project where they had to research different regions around the country.
Okay.
And this one was fun because not only was it a little bit of geography and social studies, but there was math too. They had to calculate mileage. They had to calculate how much money. We didn't use the actual gas prices because, we want to shield our children from some things. So we gave them a hypothetical gas price just to make their calculations easier. They had to calculate a budget, how much they were going to spend on food, and they would research restaurants in the area. So They had a lot of fun with it too. And there was an art component. They could draw pictures of the locations they were going to. They could do a they could do a photo collage. And writing as well, because they wrote diary entries as if they were actually at these places. So again, we had math, we had social studies, we had writing, and they really enjoyed that one. That was one of their favorites that they did.
Yeah, and if you do that project again this year, I'm really worried that you're going to have to round that gas price up to about $7 a gallon. It's crazy out there.
We'll just tell them it's 3, and then they'll have like 6 more years to discover the truth.
Oh, the 80s were great for so many reasons.
I wasn't around then.
Hey, take it easy. Take it easy. This is a friendly show. Okay. So dual language immersion, project-based learning, we offer so many amazing approaches at SCVi, but one of our real specialties is, I don't know if you know this, but when I was at SCVi, I also taught 5th grade, and I didn't teach a 5th grade group. I taught 26 individual learners, because at SCVi, we personalize the learning for each kid. And this week, you're working with each and every one of your learners, co-creating what we call individualized learning plans. Can you share what ILPs are all about and how that helps your learners grow?
Absolutely. So again, one thing we've talked about with the project-based learning is how it lets learners take control, feel like they have some say in what they learn, have ownership of their learning. So this just is a continuation of that. So for the individualized learning plan, what we do in 5th grade is we have them write 3 goals, 2 academic goals, and 1 social-emotional goal, because social-emotional learning is also a really important aspect at SCVi, because we want our learners not just to have academic knowledge, we want them to be prepared to go out socially into the world as well, and emotionally. So with the ILPs, we try to help them, now that they're in 5th grade, we try to help them write more specific and measurable goals. We try to have them adhere to SMART goals, so it's not just sort of like pie in the sky. We want to make it a little more something they can actually accomplish and something they can work for. And then this way, they get to choose something that they're interested in. They can choose, something they're interested in. If they know particularly there's a subject they want to improve in, or there's a topic they want to learn about, they get to choose that. And I coordinate, and then so they spent about a couple of weeks writing those, and then what we do is we invite their grown-ups, their families, to come in, and they get to share their goals with their families. And the families can ask any questions of the learners. They can ask any questions of us, the facilitators. And we do all that we can to, again, facilitate the achievement of their goals. So if we have any resources, we can reach out to other members of our iLead community. I had a learner who was really interested in chemistry and was a little more advanced in science. She wanted to learn a little bit more about the periodic table, which is outside of the scope of 5th grade NGSS, but because we're focused on individualized learning, I'm coordinating with our iLead, some of our science directors in iLead, Kathleen Fredette and Shauna Melville, to get resources for this learner so that they can accomplish that specific learning goal that they set for themselves, which might be beyond the typical state standards.
Yeah, and I must admit that in dual immersion language, most of my kids one of the academic goals, or maybe one extra, is to improve their Spanish skills and learn more from their backgrounds, and that is also I'm so proud of that because they are very aware that they really want to continue in learning in Spanish too.
That's exciting that you're sparking that passion in them. So we've been talking a bit about the dual language immersion program that the two of you teach. SCVi has dual language immersion, English and Spanish, where they're doing 50% of their day in each language from kindergarten to 5th grade. But if a family's not interested in the dual language immersion, can they enroll in just the single language program still, or is everybody in a dual language immersion program?
No, they absolutely have English only options. They
Okay.
have both options in those grade levels, in the dual immersion or in English only.
Fantastic. And one thing I need to point out, because folks always ask, charter schools are public schools, so it's
Yes.
tuition free. There's no tuition involved. Your tax dollars fund our program just like the local district school. So if a family is excited about whether it's dual language immersion or project-based learning, individualized learning, all the different approaches that you use to build this amazing educational program, how can they learn more about your program or enrolling in general?
Easy. You can go to our website, ileadsantaclarita.org. In the menu, select Learning Options, and Dual Immersion will appear as an option to click. You can go there to learn all about the program.
Fantastic. So maybe if they're a little skeptical or maybe they're intrigued and they want to learn more about the dual language, I love that you guys have got that on a drop down on the website so families can kind of peruse it there. But you guys have done an amazing job this morning, and I'm sure there are folks that are ready to say, no, I don't need to learn more. I want to enroll. Can they do that on the website as well?
Yeah. So on the website, it's on the same website, of course, the ileadsantaclarita.org. At the top, there is a button a parent can click to enroll now, or again, if you're still, you want to do a little more research, you want to check it out a little bit more, you can schedule a tour. And the tours usually go to my classroom, so you can meet me if you would like.
Fantastic. You have the opportunity to meet Melissa and perhaps Paloma and the rest of the team there at SCVi by scheduling a tour. I want to give our listeners a little bit of a cheat code. I want to teach people how to game the system a little bit. If you're interested, but you're still on the fence, like Melissa said, and you want to schedule a tour, do both. Hit both of those buttons. Hit the Enroll Now button, get your application started, and then schedule a tour. Because, like I said, we're a free public school. There's no down payment involved. There's no commitment. You can fill out the application and even get a seat before you take a tour. Then if you take a tour and decide it's not for you and your kid, you just say, thanks, but no thanks. But if you've already gotten a head start on that application program, you kind of jump the line a little bit. Like I said, a little cheat code. If you start the enrollment process first until you can schedule a tour and then take your tour, it'll advance you in the line just a little bit. Like I said, little cheat code. Paloma, before we go, I want to check in with you because like you, I also kind of in the middle of my career decided to moved to another country and teach. I actually went down to South America to teach for about 5 years, and it was a bit of an adjustment for me. It was a bit of a cultural adjustment, and I wanted to see how you're doing. You've been with us for just over a year. How's the transition going? What's been maybe the most difficult thing to adjust to here in the States, or maybe California, or even Santa Clarita in specific?
Well, I must admit that last year at the beginning, the first 3 months or so are very, very busy, full of paperwork, documents to fill, getting the driving license,
Yes.
all this personal stuff that you have to do while you are working. So basically, it's a very, very short little time to yourself and to relax and to get rest. But I think it's worth it in the long run. You get to know a lot of amazing people, new students, new cultures. You have the chance to travel that country, which I think is amazing, and learn the new language, improve your language skills. And I just love being brand new. I like taking risk in my life, and I think it's great that everybody has the opportunity to do that at least once in a lifetime. And so I really want you to do it too. And then you tell us how is it going for you. But last year was a bit difficult at the beginning, but then everything went smoothly. And, you're going to get help from everybody if you ask for it.
Sure.
So feel free to jump on.
I love that adventurous spirit. You mentioned that you've enjoyed traveling around here in California and in the States. Is there a particular destination somewhere that you've gone that you've really enjoyed?
Oh, Utah.
Oh, you like Utah?
Yes, I do. Best state for me.
Did you go to Zion while you were there?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful.
All right.
Yeah, to enjoy the national parks, I think that's the best.
Oh,
I mean, I still have a lot to see, but, I'm working on it.
Sure, absolutely. And I'm sure Melissa can maybe give you some suggestions.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Melissa Rose, Paloma Molina-Lopez, they teach 5th grade in SCVi's dual language immersion program, teaching your kids in English and Spanish, making sure that they're prepared to succeed and lead in the 21st century. Again, for more information, go to ileadsantaclarita.org or just Google SCVi, where that top hit right there. That's ileadsantaclarita.org or Google SCVi. When we come back, I'm going to read the newspaper to you because yeah, that's going to be great radio. People all over are celebrating this week, and you're going to find out why. Stay tuned. I'm Matt Watson. You're listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley on KHTS. Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, your host, and you are listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. So, yeah, I mentioned before the break I'm going to be reading to the newspaper to you. Maybe not quite that boring. Well, you know what? You be the judge. So I was reading the news the other day. I do like to keep myself informed and know what's going on, and I do get my news from multiple sources, like a good boy should. And so part of my routine, I go on the KHTS website. That's hometownstation.com, friends. And, as it happened, I pulled it up, and the top story that popped up on hometownstation.com just absolutely made me gasp. No, it was not a story about a local boy making it big, and it wasn't about some violent crime in town. It wasn't even about some sort of local scandal that made me gasp. Check this out. So here, I'm just going to read kind of it was a very short story, but I'm going to read it to you. Headline, try a cinnamon bun recipe for National Cinnamon Bun Today. Soft and airy, these lovely cinnamon buns have the perfect amount of filling. There's a lot of cinnamon flavor, but it doesn't go overboard. Kissed with the right amount of vanilla, the icing makes these even more decadent. Preparing these cinnamon buns does take a while, but they're not hard to make. A great recipe for the weekend or a holiday morning when life isn't as rushed. Delicious. And then, it goes on to give the recipe. And then at the end of the story, like KHTS does, we always like to make sure that our listeners, our readers can chime in. There's a comment section. And there's one comment at the end of that story. And it reads, "What? Celebrating the minor holidays here on the website? Somebody's been listening to Eye on the Valley on Fridays, 8 to 10 a.m., followed by 3 hearts. Comment posted by some character who calls himself Frogger. That's right. KHTS is taken to celebrating the minor holidays on the website, just like we like to do here on the show. So why not? Every day is a day for celebration because there's a holiday every day to lighten you up and to help you just celebrate all the little things in life like you should do. So let's take a look and see what we're celebrating today. Today is, first of all, today is World College Radio Day. That's right. On the first Friday in October, we celebrate those young kids in school trying to learn how to be just like me. Good luck, kids. God bless you. Today is also National Coaches Day. October 6th is National Coaches Day. So, do you play sports? Or maybe your kids? Well, make sure you take the time out today to honor your favorite coach. Maybe it's someone who's coaching someone in your life right now, like Coach Oscar, or maybe it's someone who coached you and your kids previously. Maybe it's the genius himself, Dave Roberts, coach of the NL West champion Los Angeles Dodgers. But celebrate coaches today because coaches are amazing teachers and educators themselves, and most of them, are volunteers and give of themselves. So let's celebrate coaches today. October 6th is also October 6th is National Orange Wine Day. But no, we're not doing that. Orange wine? No, sorry, you can keep your Boone's Farm. That's a hard pass for me. Looks like it's a hard pass for engineer Jen as well. She's going to stick with her Palomas. So let's move on, shall we? First Friday in October. Every October, first Friday, which is today, the first Friday in October is National Body Language Day. So let me sit up straight for this one. You know, they say that 90% of all communication is nonverbal. So what is your body saying? Let's pay attention to that body language, folks. I know that most of you are listening to my voice right now, whether you're streaming on the website or listening on the KHTS app, or you're tuning in on your transistor radio. You're dialing us in on 1220 AM or 98.1 FM. And so you might not be able to see my body right now, although the folks that are tuning in on Facebook Live can see me. Again, let me straighten up. But most of you can only hear me. So what is my body language saying right now? Well, my mean big brother is texting me saying that my body language is telling me to mix in a salad once in a while. Not nice, Big T. Not nice. There he is. October 6th is also, well, speaking of which, October 6th is also National Plus Size Appreciation Day. And so, yeah, Big T, I appreciate you, bro. I'm glad too, because I can certainly appreciate a plus size. Just remember, folks, beauty comes in all shapes and sizes, and we can appreciate all of them. Ain't that right, Megan Trainor? That's right. She's all about that bass. Let's see. First Friday in October is also National Manufacturing Day. So yeah, you got somebody working the assembly line, celebrate them today. Give them a pat on the back. Not while the machines are on, though. That can be dangerous, friends. Today is also World Smile Day. Come on, y'all. Put on a happy face. There, look at that. Engineer Jen's celebrating World Smile Day. All right, this just in from Big T. Big T says that he is celebrating National Plus Size Appreciation Day along with National Body Language Day together. He's putting the two together and stating that he's large and in charge. We appreciate you, Big T. Fantastic. All righty, let's see. National Manufacturing Day, World Smile Day. October 6th is National Noodle Day. So use your noodle and maybe whip up some pasta tonight. You know, I had some amazing pasta last week. It was like this pumpkin-filled rigatoni. It kind of made me wrinkle my nose at first, but absolutely phenomenal. It was really good.
That sounds really good. Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah.
You have to have there's like a garlic olive oil, garlic infused olive oil. You just drizzle that on
nice
top, a little bit of cheese.
Oh, definitely. You know it, Jen. You know it. It was amazing. So celebrate National Noodle Day. And hey, Steve Petzold. Steve, today is your day, man. October 6th is, check it out, National German American Day. Definitely. Yeah. How you like that, huh? Gefällt Ihnen das? That's right. Gefällt Ihnen das? You like that? All right. And lastly, we've got October 6th is National Mad Hatter Day. So, yeah, you know what that means. Put on that kooky hat and celebrate. I guarantee somebody's out there going, finally, I have an excuse. So, yeah, put on that kooky hat and celebrate. Or, you know what? You can celebrate with a Dodgers hat, supporting the boys in blue who are about to go on that postseason tear that I talked about before. Yeah. So whatever you're celebrating today, make it a great one. So one more time, let me just recap. Well, we started out with National Cinnamon Bun Day, but that was a few days ago, and that launched us into what we're celebrating today, Friday, October 6th, World College Radio Day. National Coaches Day. Yeah, you've got time. Pick up a gift for that special coach in your life. We're skipping National Orange Wine Day, National Body Language Day, National Plus Size Appreciation Day, National Manufacturing Day, World Smile Day, National Noodle Day, and finally, National German American Day, and finally, National Mad Hatter Day. So yeah, let's make it a great one. But don't go away. When we get back, we'll talk to the executive director of Family Promise, an organization here in town working to solve the homeless issue in our valley. So stay tuned. I'm Matt Watson. You're listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, your host, and you are listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. And we're coming to you live from the center of Main Street here in beautiful downtown Newhall. I'm joined now by the Executive Director of Family Promise. Over his 28-year career, Dr. Roche Vermaak has proven to be an effective executive director and pastor responsible for identifying revenue streams and creating significant relationships that result in considerable financial support for his organization. Successful in cultivating and maintaining the sound fiscal management of an organization and business, he's an expert at mapping out strategic plans that generate notable funds in a cost-effective and timely manner. He holds a bachelor's degree, get this, he holds a bachelor's degree, 2 master's degrees, and a doctorate, all from the University of Pretoria in South Africa. Dr. Vermaak, welcome to Eye on the Valley.
Oh, there's also a 5th degree. I have a
degree
in Greek, yeah. So.
A 5th degree in?
Greek.
In Greek. Well, you need to update your LinkedIn profile. I did a little cyber stalking. But
I'm also a proud Bruin. I did my certificate in nonprofit management, so go Bruins.
Go Bruins! Dr. Vermaak quickly becoming our favorite guest here on Eye on the Valley. Fantastic. All right. Lifelong Bruins here. Anyways, we're not here to talk about UCLA football. Let's talk about Family Promise. For those of our listeners who aren't as familiar, what's your organization's mission? What do y'all do at Family Promise?
Matt, thank you for you and KTH having us here today. What we do is we focus on what is unseen homelessness, and that is families.
Okay.
You will not see who we serve on the street. They're not standing there begging for money or holding signs out.
Okay.
And that's what Family Promise nationwide addresses, is families who become homeless. And for the most, over our 201 affiliates across the country, it is single mothers. Often the dad, the father, the boyfriend or the husband has left the relationship, and the mother is left with taking care of her children. And that's what Family Promise addresses. The moment they become homeless, how to do triage that they get into safe housing.
You know, I was looking at your website, and that specific mission is beautiful, right? Because it's tragic when an individual is experiencing homelessness, but when it's a family, it can become generational, because you talk about a family with children experiencing homelessness. Well, that quickly starts to take options and avenues off the table, right? College becomes very, very difficult. Even staying in high school or focusing on developing the skills, the presentation needed to get a job that might lead out of homelessness becomes very, very difficult. And so your mission really does work on that transitioning, not just giving a handout, but
a hand up.
But giving the hand up to cure homelessness for families. Can you talk a little bit more about that, what that looks like, what your program looks like for those you serve?
The challenge is when you become homeless for the first time, and there are various reasons. The relationship has broken up, and suddenly you are a one-income family. Most of our families, I would say over 95%, have no child support. Spousal support is non-existent. And so when you go down from 2 incomes to 1 income, and often it was a one-income household to begin with, and then the relationship breaks up because the mother has been raising the children, and she has often not been working, doesn't have an education, doesn't have the skill sets or a resume to go find work. Now you become homeless. Where do you turn to? It's difficult to navigate the entire system. So a family becomes homeless, they phone Family Promise, they find us online, and then we begin with the triage. And as you said, there is trauma involved. Not just trauma from becoming homeless or losing your housing and then having to sleep with family and friends for the first couple of months, then that relationship gets strained. They will rent a garage or a room or a couch, and then the friends or the family say, well, you need to move out. Then you become homeless in your car. What do you do if your car is repossessed or you don't have a vehicle? That's when it starts. Then you go stay in a motel. You use up all your money to just keep your kids safe, and that's when the desperation sets in. For us, our slogan is, no child should be homeless. A child doesn't choose their parents, neither does a child choose that their parents become homeless. They are the byproduct of that.
Sure.
Now imagine going back for us 40, 50 years, we go back to school. We start school as a kid. Imagine if you flunk your grade because your parent has moved from city to city to city and you are no longer in school, or you perform badly in school and you are kept back a grade. That trauma on a child's life will never go away.
Yeah.
And so what we try to do is, a family will phone us and we'll assess the situation right there and then. What resources do you have in terms of family? It's shocking how many families do not have immediate family, or the relationship has been broken or burnt. They can't go back to a parent or a sibling or an aunt or an uncle or a grandparent, or there's sickness in the family and that's why they can't go and stay with someone, or there's overcrowding. There's already a sibling or two siblings with their children living with other family, and then you have 8, 10, 9, 15 people in a small household, and it just becomes untenable for them to stay in that situation. So we'll first assess, is there any other option with family or friends that you can stay with? If that's not an option, we will look at, is this a good client? Is it worth the finances to put them in a motel, to have the kids and the parents safe? In that period when they're in the motel, they will get breakfast. We will provide them with a gift card from Target and Walmart, etc., that we get from community members, and say, go buy your food, that your kids at least have lunch or dinner. Make sure your kids are signed up for school lunches. We will provide them with a gift card to go buy cleaning supplies, or if they don't, we go from our shopping bin that we have, and they can come and shop for anything, toiletries, cleaning supplies, hygiene products, anything that they need, clothing, socks, underwear for the kids. In the period that they're in the motel, we will assess, how can we help you navigate the system? And there's various aspects. One of them is finding housing. Okay. That is so difficult. Sure. So we refer clients to LA Family Housing. They are full. They've burned so much money during COVID, housing people that have become homeless, especially single mothers. So we will try and navigate, is that a possibility? We work with two agencies in San Fernando Valley. We work with Hope Gardens, which is a 2-year program where they teach the mother skills, but you can only go there if there's an opening and if you fit the model. So often we cannot place a family immediately. We have to put them in a motel for anywhere from 1 to 28 days. We do not get a discount. We do not get motel vouchers. We pay the full going rate for a family to stay in a motel. In that period, besides looking at where will you stay, we look at their job. Do you have work? If you do not have work, we will help them write their resume. We will connect them to all the various job sites, Glassdoor, Next, Indeed, Idealist, ZipRecruiter, you name it. Update their LinkedIn profile. Apply for jobs. We have local agencies like Target and Woodward and TJ Maxx and Ralph's and Vaughn's that we will contact and say, do you have any jobs for cashiers or any potential training opportunities? So we will connect them to those. It also doesn't help if you're in Santa Clarita and you find a job 40 miles away and your car is broken and you don't have money for gas at $6 a gallon. So that's another issue. Yeah. Plus, if you work 40 miles away, what happens with your children after school? Sure. There's not often a Boys and Girls Club that is nearby. So where do your kids go after school when you are still working? We've had horrible stories of parents saying, I have to leave my kid in the car in the sun because I have no childcare. The third one is the childcare. We have no agency here. So our families have to go all the way to Chatsworth, which is 40 miles away, to sign up for CCRC, which will help them with childcare. Now, we all know during COVID how difficult childcare was, how expensive it is. Yep. Now, imagine if you're earning $15 an hour, you work full-time, you earn $31,500 a year, and your childcare is $800 a month. Right. You cannot afford it. So we connect families also with Boys and Girls Club, with after-school programs at the various schools to see if they can help with the childcare when the parent gets back in the afternoon or late evening from work to pick up their children. So now we've addressed where would you possibly stay, we've addressed work, we've addressed childcare, and then we address what are you going through, what is the trauma? And that is, I think, something that is the unseen, what happens within a person's mind and their body. Trauma causes depression, it causes anxiety, it causes lethargy, it causes you not to have the will to go out and be a go-getter. All of those things we address. We work with Samuel Dixon Family Health Services, we refer our clients to them, we work with LA Mental Health. If you have depression and you are not receiving therapy or any medication, or your children, because it's not just the adults, the children themselves are depressed and have anxiety and are going through trauma. We want that addressed. So your medical health, your mental health, that is just as important as the will to go every morning and go and find work or go to work. And so all of those components need to be addressed. If a family is a candidate for our interim house in Castaic, then we will assess, do you have a vehicle? Because there's no public transportation there.
Right.
If you have to take Lyft and Uber every day back and forth, it will be $100 plus a day just to take a Lyft or an Uber. So if they're a candidate, we do a background check. Because the reason is we have to protect the other families and their children in the house. So we run a criminal background check. We do not take active domestic violence cases. Your domestic violence case needs to have been assigned that you have a court order to stop the husband or the boyfriend or the father of the child from not coming and taking or kidnapping your child or threatening you. And so our address for the house in Castaic is confidential. We only share it with people who need to know the address. And you need to have a court order. If the dad comes and threatens you or the children, that the sheriffs can come and arrest that person.
Perfect.
Because the safety of the other children is vital for us. So if you pass the background check, we look at, do you have a job? Are you motivated to get a job? So we look at the history of the family. We go on HMIS from the county. We look at their storyline. What do other case managers say? What has happened to this family over a period of time? We sort of get a snapshot of what is the motivation for them to get out of homelessness.
Right.
And so for us, we cannot take continued chronicle homeless families. We don't have the money, we don't have the resources, we don't have the staff, and we do not have the skills to address somebody who has been homeless for a year or 2 or 3 or 5 years.
Sure, you're limited in what you can do, and so your clients do need to bring something to the table, but I love that full wraparound approach that addresses the physical, mental, economic, social, and emotional need to take that downward cycle and turn it into an upward cycle. Absolutely beautiful. So let's talk a little bit. Let's go back in history, because I know Family Promise has been around several decades now. Started out, I believe, in New Jersey. So can you tell us the story of how Family Promise started and has grown to, I believe you've got programs in all 50 states, right?
All 50? I think it's 43, and we will soon be in all 50. It happened in '86 in New Jersey with our founder, Karen Olson, who drove by a mother by a bus stop, and she turned around and bought her a sandwich and spent a moment talking to the mother. And she said, "Thank you for the sandwich, but I don't know where I'm going to sleep tonight." And that bothered Karen. She and her boys had done food kitchens, etc. And Karen realized in our country and in New Jersey where she was, there are shelters for single homeless people.
Right.
But not a shelter or a safe place for families.
And how is that possible?
Because our focus is on getting single homeless people off the streets, but we don't address families.
That's amazing.
And so she went to her pastor, and it's like the beginning of a joke. A pastor, a rabbi, and an imam got together. And literally the 3 faith traditions sat down and said, how are we going to solve it? And one of the 3 of them said, well, our Sunday school rooms are empty 6 days a week. We use them for 1 hour. And so that's how Family Promise was born. Let's use our empty space at a mosque, at a synagogue, a temple, or a church, and use that to house a family. And that's literally how Family Promise was born. That idea grew. We're in 201 cities. We closed some Family Promises during COVID, and new ones have opened. We're in 43 states. We're growing continuously. And the model for Family Promise has been for all of these decades, we have not had buildings. Rather, we use what is already there. We, from 2011 to March of 2020, had several congregations and 2 synagogues in Santa Clarita where families would stay for a week. That ended. 17th of March, our entire program came to a grinding halt.
Sure.
All our synagogues and churches closed. I couldn't rent a single place. Everybody was afraid of COVID. How will it affect our preschools? Because our preschools bring in money for our congregations.
Sure.
And so we were spending a ton of money just on motel stays. I phoned someone and said, do you know of anyone who might have a house for me to rent? And she said, I know this couple, and they've got 5 houses, and phone them. And I phoned them, and they said, well, we don't have a space in the house, but we want to help you buy a house. I'm like, wonderful. Wow. What are you thinking, 50, 100,000? And they said, no, we're thinking around 400,000. Okay, blow me over. The next day, my board president and I and the treasurer met with them, and I said, you know what, we actually looked at houses, and there's nothing you can buy in Santa Clarita for 400. We'll give you 750,000. And so in June of 2020, during COVID, I went house hunting. And Matt, it was scary. I would go to a place on 10 o'clock in the morning. The next night by 6 o'clock, the house would be in escrow, cash offer.
Wow.
And we couldn't find a place. And finally, I went with the couples that had donated the money with his cousins. They were realtors. We found the place, $695,000, and I said to them, do I need to up it? Do I need to go 15 or 20,000 higher? Because all the bids were outrageous. They said, no, write a letter. And I wrote a letter to the family, and I said, you know, you've raised your children here, you are leaving. This is what we plan to do with this house. Give a sanctuary to families who are homeless and raise children in this house. And they accepted our offer.
Wow.
So our house opened in September of 2020. We are coming up on 3,000 nights of families staying in the house. Now, if you equate that into dollars, we pay $102 at the roadway inn. So on a $695,000 investment, we have saved $300,000 by having families for 3 years in the house.
In just a few years, you've saved $350,000.
Exactly,
That's
and
beautiful.
half of what we nearly paid for the house.
Yeah.
And so if there's a listener out there, this family has committed another $250,000 to buy another house. If I can find $500,000 to $550,000, we will buy another house. This model for us has been successful. Other Family Promises have copied this model. A lot of other states' houses are, you know, 50, 100, 150,000, and then they've bought the house, and they are housing families that way. It gives more security, because families don't have to leave in the day like they did at the congregations.
Sure.
Every family has access to the house. They have their own keypad. They have their own room. They have their own refrigerator, their own food. They have their own space within the house. And for us, it's a radical sea shift in the model that we had for 40 years.
That's amazing. And you talk about the three-pronged approach that you have, tapping into government agencies, the nonprofit sector, as well as faith-based organizations to really meet the needs of some families desperately in need. Yeah. I love hearing the story about people's generosity. Santa Clarita really is an amazing community. And we do need to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to give our listeners an opportunity to help out as well, because y'all are doing just absolutely amazing work. Dr. Roche Vermaak, Executive Director of Family Promise, fighting the good fight to end homelessness here in Santa Clarita. And again, you can help. Stick around and find out how. Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi, and I lead School's Eye on the Valley, and I am your host, Matt Watson. We're talking this morning with Executive Director of Family Promise, Dr. Roche Vermaak. So, Dr. Vermaak, we mentioned that folks are going to have an opportunity to help you out. the program that you run is incredibly expensive. You're talking about buying homes here in Santa Clarita, which, gosh, already prices a lot of folks out, and then putting folks in hotels for the evening up to 28 days, and getting them the training and preparation they need in order to move on in their lives. It's expensive, but I know we can count on our community. We've got a very generous community here. You've got an event coming up this Monday. Tell us about your golf tournament.
So it's our 4th golf tournament at Sand Canyon. We have a full field, first time ever that we have 144 golfers that are going to tee off, and it is our major fundraiser for the year. Supervisor Catherine Barger is our main sponsor. Right. We've had in the past Andy Gump, and we've had Miles Chemical, and they've all alternated being our main sponsor. But there are several sponsors underneath that, 8 and 6 and 4 and $2,500 and $1,500 up to $250. Right. So it's too late to register because we're full, but people can still sponsor us. They can be a sponsor of the event. They can contact me. They can go to our website. Our golf tournament is there. It leads to the payment page. Or you can sign up for next year's golf tournament. Will be on October the 7th, the exact same weekend. And we're going to have our 5th tournament. It is an exciting event to see men and women come out and support families for a good cause, have a wonderful, fun day of golf, and do good while you're having fun.
There you go. I love it. And not that I need an excuse to golf. I love going out and swinging the sticks, but doing it with a good purpose is amazing. You mentioned, that's great. This is your 4th year, but the first time you've got a full field. So registrations are closed, but you've already opened registration for next year. So if folks are looking to get on board with this specific event, they can do so next year. But I got closed out. Like you said, you've got a full field. So, but how can I participate in this event? You've got.
We still got a spot for volunteers.
Okay.
You can contact me, and we'll give my address out. Contact@familypromisescv.org. Okay. Very easy. It's on our website as well, and we need volunteers for check-in from 10 to 12 on Monday. We have an opportunity for someone to witness a hole-in-one. We've got 2 holes-in-ones. Don Fleming from Acura is providing a $37,000 brand new 2024 Acura, and we need a witness. If somebody holds out, would be the greatest thing if we give that car away and we make the insurance become active. We've got opportunities from 12 o'clock to 2:30 and 2:30 to 5 o'clock. We've got an air cannon. We've got a lady professional who's going to hit golf balls on a par 3, and then we'll see if the golfers can do better than she can. And we have also a pro whose longest drive is 430 yards, who's going to do the par 5 long drive. And then from where his ball lands, people have an opportunity to hole out and win significant amount of money.
Wow. Gosh, so it's an opportunity to give, it's an opportunity to win, and then there's other opportunities as well. You've got an auction going on in coincidence with the golf tournament. Tell us a little bit about your auction.
So we have just a few items, local people, Valencia Hyatt, Prosperitas Financial, PRP Wines, local companies, Holly Diaz from Miss Holly Inspired have donated prizes, and people can make an offer. You don't have to be present at the golf tournament. It ends on Monday at 6:30 when the dinner ends. We'll close the bids on that, and you have an opportunity to win some great prizes. Stephanie Stelnick from Stelnick Law has given us a weekend away at Palm Springs at Rancho Mirage.
Rancho Mirage, I'm looking at that now.
Including a weekend, so there's some great prices on offer, and you will have fun using your prize while also doing good for the community. So what do we mean by doing good? Besides us putting families in motels, Matt, we started in February of 2021 with rental assistance. We've not had the money in the past. We received a grant from United Way, and we have, at this point since 2021, helped 22 families with 35 months of rental assistance.
Wow.
Anywhere from $500 to $2,600. We have spent, I think, close to $50,000 just on rental assistance. And the reason for that is, if you get evicted, it shows on your credit history for 7 years.
Okay, yeah.
And it will only fall away after 7 years. So imagine you
Again,
become
that
homeless,
cycle, yeah.
you are trying to apply, they run your credit history, they show you have an eviction, and you will not get that an apartment.
Right.
For us, it's vital to invest that $500, $1,000, $1,500 in a family. We will go to the landlord, we will go to the rental agency, we will negotiate with our client. If they've fallen behind on our rent, we will guarantee we can help you for a month or 2 or 3 months not to fall behind on your rent. We also have families, especially the ones that graduate from our interim house. When they move out and need to find housing, we will go to the landlord or the agency and say, this is the family, they've been with us for a month to 6 months, here is a check, we guarantee their rent. Would you consider them, especially if they have a low credit history?
Sure.
There's nothing worse than taking a contract for a year or two and then not paying your rent and being evicted.
Wow.
And for us, it's stopping homelessness before it happens.
Yes, preventing, yeah.
Because statistically, it is shown that addressing a family's homelessness after it's happened is 8 times more expensive.
Oh, wow.
It's cheaper for us to do the prevention than doing the aftercare.
I love that. You say it's cheaper for you to do the prevention, but it's not inexpensive work, which is why you're having the golf tournament, you're having the auction. But, you know, aside from that, I know folks would just like to give straight donations. Is that something that's possible? We're too late to register for the golf tournament. Maybe, you know, not interested in the auction items, although I don't know who wouldn't be. You've got some great things here. But can folks just go to your website and donate?
So familypromisescv.org, very easy. On it, you will find all the options. We have 3 things. Golf tournament, you can make a general donation there. If you don't want to be a sponsor, you can make a donation to Family Promise. You can sign up to be a weekly, monthly, biannually, annual donor.
There you go. Become a cyclical giver. I like it.
And our third option is our build, which we've not spoken about.
Talk to us about your build, yes.
So the city gave us a piece of land on Newhall Avenue. We are waiting any day for the water board to sign off, fire to sign off, and the city engineers to sign off and planning so that a building permit can be issued. The wonderful news is that we are working with Lance Williams from Williams Homes. What Lance has done with his team is go out to all their subcontractors and say, listen, Williams Homes is not making money on this build. We are putting all of our resources, all of our staff towards this build. Will you, as a contractor or as a subcontractor, give Family Promise a break on your labor or the material? The wonderful news is we have heard from Williams Homes that of the still something like 1.4 million that we have to pay after the hundreds of thousands we've already paid, that half of that has been donated by various companies. And I want to mention them: Westlar, Larry Kern, Simpson, Whitecap, a build company that does all the retail for the building suppliers, and several others. We are waiting for the build. Land says the build will be within a year. So hopefully by the end of or beginning of 2024, the build will be completed. We are looking at a walkthrough in January once the cement is up, the walls has been framed, and the roof is up. We want to thank our city. We want to thank Supervisor Barger. We want to thank everybody in the community who has donated. We want to thank our Silent Foundation, who has given us a significant amount of money towards this build. We want to thank kids who went to their parents and said, I want to use my pocket money. Whether it's $5 or $1 million that we've received, all of those funds will go towards our build. We will have a resource center with 3,000 square feet, an emergency overnight unit where a family can just punch in the code. They'll have a bed, shower, toiletries, microwave, food, and they can stay there for up to a week while we triage and don't have to pay for a motel. And then the biggest part of the build is we will have 4 units that are 815 square feet, 2-bedroom units. Families will be able to stay for a month to 6 months, no cost, no fees, while they save money towards permanent housing.
Wow, and huge shout out again to all the folks that are working with your organization to support you and making all this possible. On Facebook Live, you're getting a shout out yourself. Your favorite former banker, Elizabeth Hopp, is saying hello to you. But you mentioned during the commercial break that your clientele has shifted around the time of the pandemic. Can you share that with our listeners? What are you seeing that's different than prior to the pandemic?
The trend is so different, Matt. So from 2011 to 2020, 71% of the adults we served were mothers. It changed drastically from 2020 till today. We are averaging over 90% of our adult clients are mothers.
Wow.
And there's several reasons for that. The economy has hit them the hardest. They are the ones who have lost their housing. They are the ones earning the $15 or $14 minimum wage.
Sure.
And as I said, multiply it by 52 weeks times 40 hours a week, it's $31,500. Where can you afford to rent anything in Santa Clarita if you are earning $31,500? You have paid for gas, for your medical, for your children, for clothes, for food. And so what we've seen is single mothers are the biggest driver of family homelessness in Santa Clarita Valley.
Wow. Wow.
Volunteers? We've not
Yes,
addressed
please,
that.
please.
How can you volunteer besides the golf tournament? What we do with the house is on a Sunday, we have a sign-up. You can go to our website where you can, with your friends, collect groceries and drop it off for the families so
Yeah.
they can cook their own meals.
Right.
We want them to get away from all the fast food places and learn to cook for themselves.
Yes.
Or on a Wednesday, you can sign up to drop off a meal for the families in the house.
Ah, beautiful. Beautiful. So we've talked about just a ton of different ways folks can get involved in helping out. But I can't help but think maybe there's somebody out there listening saying, I'm not the one that can help out. I'm the one.
Then I've got
Dr.
an idea.
Vermaak, how can I get some
I've got
help?
an idea for you.
Yeah.
Instead of you trying to solve and help families, why don't you get your friends, your church, your school, your synagogue, your community, your co-workers involved?
There you go. Make it a team effort.
You can imagine the families in the house go through a tremendous amount of toilet paper, paper products, towels,
All right.
laundry detergent, cleaning supplies,
All right, yeah.
hygiene products. We have 2 storage bins at our site where any family that is low income or homeless can come and shop for free. They can come and look for diapers and socks and underwear and personal hygiene products and cleaning supplies. And so do a collection. Go to your friends, your family, your colleagues, your schoolmates. Do a collection, drop it off at Family Promise, and we will distribute it. Christmas is coming up with the holiday season. People always want to know how I can serve. A family will contact us, and I can guarantee you, families are not asking for Christmas gifts and toys for their kids. The 2 things they ask for is food and clothing.
Yeah, those basic
And
necessities.
so what we do is, if you phone me and say, hey, I'm in desperate need this season, we match you with a donor. The donor will meet with you and connect with you and drop it off. Or you can drop it off and we will have an event at Valencia United Methodist Church in December where families can come and shop, pick up the toys and the clothes and food and cleaning supplies, etc.
You're 100% right. You know, every kid loves toys, but working in schools, I've worked with students experiencing homelessness, and the one thing that they want every day more than anything else is for their classmates not to know. And so,
Matt, that is so vital. We do not want our clients to represent themselves as homeless. It is shame. So what do we want? We want you to have clean clothing.
Yes.
Underwear, which you cannot buy secondhand. Socks you cannot buy secondhand. We want to give you cleaning supplies and toiletries. That you present yourselves as clean and maintain your dignity. There's nothing worse than your classmates finding out you are couch surfing, you are staying this day with grandma, then with an aunt, then with an uncle, and you are unkept. We want to end that stigma about family homelessness.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what about those folks that are experiencing homelessness that might be hearing us for the first time, hearing about Family Promise for the first time? How can they get help? How can they get in contact with you and your team?
They phone us, go to our website, Family Promise, SCVi.org, or 661-251-2867. Numbers on the website. It will go to our case managers. Our case managers will phone you, connect with you, listen to your story, and see how either we can help you or how we can refer you to receive the services that you need. And again, I want to stress, we work with families, not single individuals.
Okay, so that's a good point. There are some qualifications. It's not just I'm experiencing homelessness. You work with a particular sector of folks experiencing homelessness. So how do they qualify? What are the guidelines for admissions, for example, to your interim house?
You can either have work or you need the motivation to work. We have 3 goals, 6 words. Find work, save money, find housing.
Okay, so
And we're going to help you with all three of those. We're going to help you find work. We're going to help you save money because we sit down with every family. We look at where we can cut their bills. We look at, for instance, Dave Reeves from Reeves Auto helps our families with their vehicles. If you don't have a car, we work with 1-800 Charity Cars in Florida. They've delivered 8 cars to us over the last couple of years to our families who do not have vehicles. I met with a pastor from Crossroads yesterday who said, I have a vehicle for you. I just had a donation. We are going to match the family up with the church so that the family will have a vehicle that's reliable because her car was just repossessed. And then finding housing, working with rental agencies that will take families in, especially, Matt, when they don't have the highest credit score.
Beautiful, beautiful. Again, the website is familypromisescv.org. You're doing amazing work. Dr. Rocher Vermaak, Executive Director of Family Promise, thank you so much for your time this morning, sir. And again, thank you for everything you're doing in our community.
I just want to do one shout out, and that is to our case manager, Monica. She's the first staff member in 12 years to have a baby.
Oh, hey.
And she is going on maternity leave today, and we are shouting out to Monica with a safe delivery, and we are so glad that she will be back in January after having her baby.
There you go. Bless you, Monica, and Godspeed with you and your new baby. Dr. Vermaak, thank you so much. All right, folks, you stick around because Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame is coming up. This is SCVi, and I lead School's Eye on the Valley. I am Matt Watson, and this is your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi, and I lead School's Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson, and I'm joined now by Engineer Andrew. How you doing?
Great.
There we go. Let's try that one more time. Engineer Andrew, how are we doing this morning?
Well, fantastic.
There we go. And we've also got Engineer Jen in the house.
Hi, good morning.
All right, but enough about the two of you because it's now Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame. Y'all know Big T. Big T is an executive and a philanthropist. He's an amazing father, husband, and community leader. He's a world traveler, and he is currently on a mission to drink all the wine in Central Washington. Here he is, everybody, his mom's favorite. Big T, welcome to the show.
You know what? Thank you.
All right, Big T, let's get right to it. I want to explain to our friends at home the rules. Jen, Andrew, and I are going to hit our buzzers. You've got trivia questions for us. We're going to hit our buzzers by shouting out our name. But you, if you're playing along at home, you get that advantage. You don't have to call out your name. Just shout out the answer. See if you can beat us. Hey, Big T, so Papa was 2-2 last week, and then he threw out his pick last week with Georgia. I think that one was a loser, wasn't it?
Georgia was a loser last week, so Papa's down to 2-3. This week he says take Kansas and lay the point.
Take Kansas and lay the point. All right, so I don't know how you plan it, Andrew. You going to fade Papa this week? Or
No, I got to go with him.
All right, sounds good. All right, Big T, what do you got for us?
Awesome, let's kick it off. In one of the most popular Dr. Seuss books, what won't Sam I Am eat?
Andrew.
Oh.
Andrew.
Green eggs and ham.
Outstanding, good pull. What movie is You Had Me at Hello?
Andrew.
I got Andrew first.
Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire's correct.
Andrew's quick on his buzzer this morning.
Quick, yeah.
Yeah. What decade was Jurassic Park released?
Jen.
I think I heard Frogger then Jen.
I heard Frogger first, yeah.
I think that was the 1990s.
1990s is correct. Jen's the date wizard. Jen, do you remember the actual year?
I'm going to go with 1993.
You get a point for that as well.
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
I'll take it.
What's the name of Guinea's Pygmy Puff in Harry Potter series?
Is that English?
It is. Oh.
Wait, one more time.
Guinea's Pygmy Puff in the Harry Potter series.
Harry Potter questions.
I don't know. Yeah.
No.
We'll let it go. It's Arnold.
Okay.
Jeez. Yeah.
Okay. What was the Grinch's dog's name?
Frogger.
Frogger.
That's Max.
Max is correct.
Love that little guy.
What's the name of Boba Fett's ship in Star Wars?
Andrew.
Andrew.
Slave One.
Slave One is correct. Which Disney princess has a Scottish accent?
Jen.
Oh.
Jen.
Is it Merida?
Merida is correct. Nice pull.
Be careful how you pronounce that name because our listeners in Spain are calling you on it.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's that terrible accent that I have. Butchering the beautiful name.
No. You did a good job. Andrew knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
Big T knows too.
Yeah.
How many staircases are located in Hogwarts?
Frogger.
All of them.
Frogger. All of them.
He's stealing Frogger's answer. I'm going with 13. It's got to be 13. Tell me it's 13, Big T.
Incorrect.
I don't know.
It's one of those
Jen.
you know or you don't know. It's 142.
Okay, I was going to say 100.
Oh, wow. You'd have been closer than me.
Big T's going to throw out there a little bit of a news segment, given Frogger's been running away with stuff. So Frogger's on a 30-second timeout. Jen, of course, Andrew can answer as well. But
he's leaving
Frogger,
right
you
now.
keep time on this.
Should I just
Here
pot
we
his
go.
mic down?
Yeah. What is Jen's favorite movie?
Jen. That would be, well, this is a little bit of a trick question, I think. The Wizard of Oz is my favorite movie, and my second favorite movie.
Okay, from 1975. You
Right.
identified it last week.
Right, we were talking about it last week. My one of my favorite movies is Jaws.
Perfect. Yes, that's the point. In season 5 of Hollywood Part 3 of Happy Days, Pinky Tuscadero was nervous about Fonzie
Jen.
jumping what?
Jen, jump the shark. That was
The
too
shark is
easy.
correct. Firefighters use what to open smashed car doors after a
Jen.
series accident? Jen.
Jaws of Life.
Jaws of Life is correct. What is the name of the evil henchman played by actor Robert Keel in the James Bond movie Moonraker?
Jen.
Frogger.
Jen.
Oh.
Frogger.
Oh my gosh. I want to say Goldeneye. That's
Frogger.
Stick with the theme, Jen.
I know. I can't remember something with his teeth. I don't know. Go ahead.
Frogger. His name was Jaws.
Jaws.
Jaws is correct.
Okay.
Where was Jaws filmed?
Frogger.
Jen.
Frogger.
It was filmed at Universal Studios.
Incorrect, Jen.
No. Not Martha's Vineyard.
Martha's Vineyard is correct.
Oh, it is correct. Yeah.
Wait, but she said not Martha's
I
Vineyard.
meant to say Martha's Vineyard.
All right, Frogger, you're back in the game. What TV series included the phrase "Go where no man has gone before"?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Star Trek.
Star Trek is correct. A little fired up, are you, Frogger?
Lord help me. I'm a little angry, yeah. Got a chip on my shoulder.
Sabrina's cat and Sabrina the Teenage
Andrew.
Witch. Andrew.
Salem.
Salem is correct. What's the name of the mall in the 3rd season of Stranger Things?
Oh.
Yeah. Could say I didn't watch it.
Jen, but I don't. I know that the town is Hawkins, right? Hawkins, Indiana. Starcourt.
Incorrect.
Starcourt. It's Starcourt.
Are you Googling?
No, it just hit me. I have a T-shirt. I almost wore it today.
Starcourt Mall is correct.
Yes.
Oh, my Lord.
Matt, I will wear my T-shirt next Friday. I have a Starcourt T-shirt.
All right.
What comic series is the CW's Riverdale based on?
Andrew. Oh, no.
Andrew.
See?
Frogger.
See, no, go ahead.
Archie's Comics.
Yeah, okay.
Frogger gets it. Archie
I
Comics.
didn't think it was
Who
called
wrote
that.
The Little Mermaid?
Who? What?
Wait, what?
Who wrote The Little Mermaid?
Okay, Frogger.
Jen.
Jen,
Frogger
go.
than Jen.
You were first.
No, I heard you. Go ahead.
I'm probably going to get this wrong. Hans Christian Andersen?
That is correct. Are we in double digits yet for Jen, Frogger?
I mean,
All right, so checking
I
the
don't
scoreboard.
want to count, but
Jen's got 8, followed by Frogger with 5, and Andrew bringing up the rear with 4. It is a close game, though. Still anybody's game. We got about a minute left.
All right. How many pounds are in a ton?
Frogger.
Frogger.
2,000.
Incorrect.
Shut up. It's 2,000.
Oh, I thought you said 8,000. 2,000 is correct.
2,000. I'm not incorrect.
Okay, I thought I heard 1,000. Okay.
Moving on.
What is the largest bone in the human body?
Frogger.
Frogger.
The femur.
Femur's correct.
It's that leg bone that's
How many
connected to the knee bone.
How many planets make up the solar system?
Frogger.
Frogger.
It's 8 now because we kicked Pluto out.
That is correct.
Huh.
What actor and comedian appeared in the video for the Paul Simon song "You Can Call Me Al"?
Jen,
Jen.
Chevy Chase.
Yes.
Chevy Chase is correct. What species of fish is Nemo?
Frogger.
Andrew.
Frogger.
He's a clownfish.
He's a clownfish. What's Nemo's dad's name?
Andrew.
Andrew,
Marvin?
say that again.
Marvin?
Frogger.
Incorrect.
Marvin?
Frogger.
It's Marlin.
Oh,
Come on.
Ironically enough, he's a swordfish.
What animal's nickname is a sea cow?
Sea cow.
Andrew.
Oh,
Andrew,
A manatee.
manatee's correct.
alrighty, Big T. We got time for one more. Make it a quick one.
All right. What animal can breathe through its butt?
Oh, Frogger.
Frogger.
No, that's my answer. Frogger.
Anybody?
Nope.
breathe through its butt. Is it a water animal? I don't know.
It's a turtle.
It's a
Oh,
turtle.
That's super weird.
Hey, and with that, we're going to leave it at a tie. Frogger and Jen have 9, Andrew with 5. Big T, we've got to wrap it up. Thanks for swinging by. We also want to thank our guests, Melissa Rose and Paloma Molina-Lopez, part of the dual language immersion team at SCVi Charter School, Dr. Roche Vermaak, Executive Director of Family Promise, producer Sarah, engineer Jen, engineer Andrew, Big T, and thank you for listening. Remember, friends, life is hard, but we're all here to help each other along. Be well and do good, and join us again next week and every Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. I am Matt Watson, and this is SCVi, and I lead schools on the Valley.